Thank you for joining us on our journey here to preserve the history of mixed martial arts. When I wanted to take on this project, I needed help. I brought in one of my favorite matchmakers, Miguel Iturrate, and the MMA detective, Mike Davis. So to do this, we've been able to preserve history. Welcome and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Lights Out Podcast. I am the MMA detective, Mike Davis. Along with me, as always, Miguel Iturrate. Miguel, today's segment on ADCC history, we're going to take a walk down a savage run in the women's division of the 2005 Abu Dhabi, which was in California that year. And it featured Tara LaRosa. Tara, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, what's up?
So Miguel and Tara, very rarely in sports do you know something historic is going to take place prior to the event happening. Usually it's like, oh my God, this happened. It was historic. This is the first year in ADCC history that the women's division was featured, was one of the featured tournaments. And Tara, you got into the under 60 kilo division as an alternate. Miguel, why don't we start with you? How does Tara fit as an alternate into the main bracket?
Yeah, Miguel, tell me about that. Why was I brought in as alternate? I've always wanted to know.
Thank you.
Well, no, you speak about the history of the situation. This is 2005. And, we'd already done Revolution at Hook and Shoot, and Jeff, deservedly gets a lot of credit for that. I guess this would be, me kind of, doing something historic for the women, because this involved, getting approval from the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. And they were, not on their own planning to open up women's divisions and stuff. This idea kind of hit them out of the blue. We had to get a sponsor to, pay the prize money that would go out. It was 8 women tournaments, so they were smaller than the men. The prize money was less, but all that had to be done. There were 2 barometers. I always wanted, to hold the Abu Dhabi Combat Club too, to see whether that culture, the Arab culture was, modernized. And this is my own barometer. One of them was whether they would accept women. And I pressured them, and they were fine with it. They weren't going to give them the exact same spotlight that they gave the men, but they were fine with it going on. The second barometer, which they also accomplished, and I take my hats off to them, was when they invited Haim Ghazali, who's an Israeli. And that's unusual, world politics that become involved in this type of tournament.
Okay,
and
Miguel, let's keep. Why wasn't she in the main bracket?
Just, it comes down to resumes. Who's in the main bracket? Lake Avera is a black belt. Who else was in there?
Yazzie Parman,
black belt, or at least
Kyra Gracie, Lika Vieira.
Yeah, the problem comes down to 2 things. First, I may not have been pushy for her. And, Henzo definitely was pushy for Kira. And, Leica had her followers and stuff like that. And, I have a delicate line, because it wasn't just trying to get my guys into the show. I was also part of the organization of the show. So, things were done by committee. It's not, as an alternate for her to get into the absolute, I was able to, step in, and I knew Tara would back it up with a great performance, but, you had to pick your spots in order to get told yes. That's kind of always the way that worked.
Okay, so Tara,
I won my alternate, but I replaced Kira Gracie in the absolute because I think, didn't she get hurt or something?
No, she opted not to compete. Kira Gracie is the youngest Abu Dhabi champion. She won at the age of 18, and that record being beaten is going to be incredibly difficult. Tara, you came in as an alternate. You hit an incredibly impressive judo throw against Sari Redzapowski. And when did you find out you were going to be entered into the Absolute?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't remember. I know I was kind of in sort of like a holding pattern, sort of, because I won my alternate match and then I have to watch the rest of it and everything. I don't really remember, because the chicks that I went against, I guess they were not under 60 kilograms, huh?
No. So here it is. I mean, obviously we all know the Absolute is an open weight with a cash prize at the end. You, however, run through the entire over 60 kilogram. Let's start with your first match. One, you're with Team Rock at the time. Arthur Canup is in your corner.
Yep.
You're sponsored by Havoc, and you get Megumi Yabushita from Sads MMA from Japan. Sumi Saki is in her corner. Do you remember that matchup?
Yeah, I love Megumi. She's so awesome. Talk about one of the pioneers of the sport. She was before me even. She's one of the absolute originals. I mean, like, anybody that predates me is an original. I mean, there's pioneers that, like,
I just want to jump in. She's also a judoka like you are in background. How's your judo match up with her? Take us through the match.
Yes, I don't remember her throwing me. I mean, I don't remember the match. I know she was pissed. She was mad. She was really, really mad. And I think I fought her in MMA that year. And right now, I can't remember if Abu Dhabi was before or after I fought her in Japan.
It was after.
Abu Dhabi was after. Yeah,
Abu Dhabi was after. Yeah.
Or in Japan. I beat her in Japan. That's why she was pissed. That makes sense. She was like not having it. She was disgusted.
Well, she went 1-2 that day, where she lost to the eventual winner in a plus 60 kilogram, Juliana Borges from American Top Team. So it's in the second round. She wins her first round, loses to the eventual tournament winner. She runs into you in the opening of the Absolute. Carlos Diaz is the ref. You beat her. Now you move on to the second round. Your second round is the plus 60 kilo silver medalist in Stacy Cartwright.
Oh, she was so nice. She was such a doll. I loved her and her coach. They were really great.
So she's out of Machado, Australia. And your second round is literally the second place of the division above, which is the one that you fought in. Do you remember that match?
Yeah, actually, so I knew that was happening. And as a matter of fact, she had just beaten Marlos Conan. And I love Marlos. Again, This is another one of the originals, not pioneers, the originals. Marlos is an original of women's MMA worldwide. And so Marlos had just lost to her, and Boss Rutan was cornering her.
Well, she lost twice to her. Marlos Conan drew her twice.
Yeah, Boss was cornering Marlos. And so we were chatting, and they pulled me aside, both of them, and we went behind the bleachers or back in that private area, wherever that was, and they like sort of coached me, and we came up with a game plan for that match and how to get her. And because Marlos had just gone against her. And so that's what we did. And I went out there and I won. I got it. I think I remember throwing the shit out of her too.
You got a rear naked choke. So a woman that took the gold medalist to the distance, you finished her in 7 minutes and 35 seconds.
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
So we've got an alternate from the lower division that just knocked off two big people in the Absolute from the division above her. In the third round,
lowly me.
I'll mention too that Conan, after she lost in the tournament bracket, and, you know, obviously with her reputation and name, she was going to get into the absolute, even though she was 0-1. She wanted Cartwright again. She wanted that.
Yeah.
And, you know, go her way, but it kind of gives you a great insight into her mentality. She's real, like Tara said, an original. We crowned a new
I love Marlo.
Original.
Yeah. So Marlo's Conan also was the first person to defeat Becky Levi as well. She is an absolute legend in women's mixed martial arts. We had the pleasure of doing a deep dive with her earlier this year.
Marlos is like the first champion of champions ever. Like, she was just like, and you know what? She's such a great role model for all women, not even just women. She's a great role model for all fighters everywhere. She just carries herself so well. She's so respectful, and she's just so well spoken. She's good sportsman. She's amazing. I absolutely love her. I can't speak highly enough.
That's awesome. So you're going into the finals. Tara, where are you at mentally? Any adrenaline dumps? Are you eyeing the prize? Concerns?
I blew my arms out. I blew my forearms out either against Yabushita or Cartwright. I don't remember, but I blew my forearms out really, really bad. And I just remember, like, backstage, we were trying to rub the lactic acid out of my arms. I couldn't even use my hands. It really sucked. That's happened a few times. Matter of fact, that happened a couple months ago in a tournament I did, or a match that I did. But yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember really feeling anything. Like, back then when I did tournaments, it was just like, meh, okay, it's a tournament, cool. It's not like I'm getting punched in the face. So it wasn't even that big of a I don't want to say, oh, Abu Dhabi just wasn't that big of a deal. It was a grappling tournament, you know? It was cool. It was
mentally it wasn't heavy on you, is what you're saying.
No, not really. No. I wasn't sweating it like I was an MMA fight. Like, MMA, dude, I lose my mind. I stress out. I barf. I get the shits. Like, I get the shakes. It's terrible. Like, I have a damn nervous breakdown before every friggin' fight. Tournaments, grappling tournaments, they're not like that at all.
Yeah, it's wild. So you go up against the
you know, it was cool. It was like a big reunion. I knew everybody there. Like, I'd been around by then. I'd been around for like maybe 5 years, I guess. Like, I knew everybody. It was like I was seeing everybody again. Like, Jen Howe was there. She was hanging out. Like, Roxanne Modafferi was out there. Like, there's like all these people that I knew from like forever. They're all there.
It was like, when you look at it on paper. Yeah, Miguel, when you look at it on paper, it's stacked. Like, it's stacked. That like both divisions were literally to the brim with talent.
It was the who of everyone back then, of that day. It was the who's who of what. And I was coming up in MMA. I guess at that point I was poised at, like, I don't know what, number 2 or 3, or looking at being 1 or whatever in MMA at 135. Like, I was just running through people. And Amanda Buckner, she was the same thing. She was in it. Of course, Lecca Vieira, she was a black belt. She was in such high esteem. She's a fantastic competitor. Kira Gracie is just the highest of the high. I mean, she also got the last name too. You know, these were all the best people from all over the world. It was incredible. It was really great. It was really, I mean, I was just grateful to be there. Honestly, I just wanted to give you a little bit of shit about, hey, thanks for being an afterthought and putting me in there. But no, I really, really appreciate it very much. I was absolutely honored. I thought it was super cool. I was grateful to just, you know, get an invite and be a part of it.
So, Tara, when you look at your career and the fights that you had, either Miguel was your biggest fan or he was searching globally to try to get your butt kicked. It's one of the two, depending on how you look at the situation.
Oh, it's the other one. It's the latter. Oh, I think Miguel has some kind. No, Miguel has some kind of sick fetish for watching me get my ass beat. He loves it. He loves it. He wants to see me squirm. He wants to see me get the shit pounded out of me. And somehow, every time, I miraculously win. I don't know how. Because he would tell me. He told me before a couple of fights. Miguel and I are we're good friends. We've been friends forever, since, I don't know, 2001. Mm-hmm. And he would say, you know what? This is the one that's going to get you, Tara. This is the one that's going to take you out. I remember he specifically said that also about Shayna Baszler. This is going to be the one. Yeah, I think she's going to be the one that takes you out. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, oh shit, oh God, oh God, oh shit, oh shit. And I'm tripping out. I'm freaking out, as I always do. I'm afraid to fight. I always have been. And so I get in there and I get the shit kicked out of me in the first round. And then apparently I wake up or something happens or I get pissed off enough and I go and I decided I'm done. So I finished the fight. I ended it.
So she said it exactly. She said, so, you know, in Tara's fights, something happens sometimes, you know. And notably in the absolute, she mentioned Amanda Buckner. Buckner finished third in the absolute. So a couple of hook and shoot ladies, you know, stood out there. And if you remember, that was the match that I later did with Bodog for the Bodog women's title was Buckner versus you know, Tara. So that felt like unfinished business after the absolute.
Okay, so Miguel, you've championed Tara as your girl for a long time up until this point. You're watching her advance. Did you expect to see her in the finals of the absolute?
You know, I don't know if by then I'd learned, but I learned it's really hard to pick against her. And I think she sort of mentioned it, you know, at some point. I got her early with Jen or whatever. But yeah, no, you know, the thing about it is she, like she said, something happens. It's like, you know, Tara and Buckner was I was fine of saying that fight was a fight. It wasn't like a girl fight. You could just say it's a fight. You know, you don't have to put a caveat on it because both of them are skilled enough that you won't notice. And I think if you look at the fight, especially that, you know, it was almost 20 years ago still, it was a very advanced, very, very advanced fight. So they deserve the attention.
Greatest fight of my
career. This was the biggest stage I was able to get them on too. So that's why it was nice that they performed.
That was my best fight of my entire career, I think. That was the toughest. Well, even out of the ones that I later on at the end, but Buckner was by far the toughest. And I went into that not expecting to win either, because I always thought that she was just more dynamic than I was. I always just thought she was just more creative and skilled or more complete. And I really always looked up to her. I always did. I always have. And I really liked the way she carried herself too, you know, and that was always something I kind of looked to. So when I got a chance to fight her, it was an honor. And nobody was more shocked than me. I pulled out a rear naked choke with 30 seconds left. Don't worry. That shocked the hell out of me. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, here,
like I said, something happened. I got sick of her punching me in the head, so there's something I had to give. I was done. No more. Let's stop it.
Let's kind of reverse and go right back to the finals. You got Juliana Borges, American Tag Team. She's got Ricardo Liborio in her corner. She got to the finals by beating Kizma Button and Amanda Buckner. Obviously, you know both of them. Very strong wrestler. I think she was on the Olympic ladder for wrestling.
Oh, wow. That's cool. I didn't even know that. Kizma, she's a cool story. I ran into her at the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio in 2003. So there wasn't that many women that showed up for it. I think I did like something happened that day. It was a poorly run tournament, and you never knew when your shit was up, and so I missed my division. There was only like one person in it, so it was not that big of a deal. So I jumped up into like the 152-pound division. I did that, and whatever, it was cool. And so I was like, well, fuck it, I'm here. I drove 7 hours to get here, so I'll do the heavyweight division too. So I jumped up into the heavyweight division, and I don't remember what number match it was that day. Maybe it was my second one in that division. I think it was for third place. I don't know. I honestly can't remember, because what happened next will tell you why. So me and Kizma are matched up, and we go out there, and she weighs 189 pounds, okay? And I weighed in that day at, I think I was 134 or 131, something like that. I don't remember. It was about that. So I go out there, and I've got my little judo and all this mess. And so she does too. So she goes to throw me. This is in the beginning of the match. She goes to throw me, and I was like, all right, cool. I spun out in midair, so I would land face down. It's much easier to get out from that and whatever. So I spun out in midair, but I didn't spin all the way, and I came down sideways. And all 189 pounds of her came down on top of me, and it broke my clavicle. It dislocated my sternoclavicular joint and an anterior dislocation of my shoulder, all at one time. And this happened in the first minute of the match, and it was an 8-minute match. So I didn't have a right side at that point, because it was all broken and messed up. So somehow I ended up getting on top, and I worked a couple chokes and stuff with like my left hand. I don't remember the whole, I was like, I have like strobe light flashes of the match. Like, I can't really remember it, but I won the match somehow, and I ended up taking third in the division.
Wow.
But then after that, they carted me off in the ambulance to the hospital, and I had like $2,500 worth of medical bills for that. So that kind of, but that's how I know Kizma, and she's such a sweetheart. I loved her to death. She was really great. She didn't stick around too longer after.
I'm sorry, Tara. I think, don't I remember? Was Kizma real young at that time? She was like 18, like a kid, right?
Yeah. Yes, she was. She was way young. She was.
So
yeah.
What was it like being underneath Juliana Borges? How was your strength?
Oh, it was all right. No different than anybody else. I just couldn't find my way out. I guess I just couldn't figure out. I remember being on the feet for a while, trying to figure out how we were going to go to the ground. And I remember that, but I don't remember what I was looking for. I mean, like, I don't remember what side pressure or what I was guarding or what she was guarding. I don't remember, to be honest, but I just remember being on the feet for a little bit. It was a 20-minute match, so we were out there for a while. She beat me 3-0, so it must not have been any kind of a blowout.
No, and Tara, Miguel and I, we've got about a dozen ADCC topics that we got in the chamber. And when we had talked about the women's, I'm like, I was there. I remember watching this. And man, this is such a savage run. Somebody that was just kind of a footnote, just Miguel was able to slide you in, you get in as an alternate. It like, as a fan, it kind of made us feel gypped. Like, you choked out the silver medalist. It was 7:35. And it's like, I would have really liked to see you up against Kyra Gracie.
Oh, I got to go against her in 2007, and it went the same way as Juliana Borges. I lost 3-0. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. That sucks. But I remember with Kira, I could not get out from under her. and she probably threw about 20 different kinds of chokes on me. They were kind of not nice. Like, they were kind of funny. Like, she like covered my mouth and I covered my nose a couple of times. I thought it was kind of funny. But Henzo was in her corner, and I was just like, wow, that's Henzo. That's so cool. Wow. And I absolutely love Henzo. And you know what? Both of them were absolutely the greatest people afterwards too. They were so cool. They were just really great. Just super nice people. Like, I absolutely love Henzo. He's so cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite Gracie. But either way, Tara, we're here honoring your 2005 ADCC Absolute Run. It was a savage performance. And thank you.
Thanks. Well, thank you. Thanks for remembering me. It's really cool. You know,
Of course.
It was. You know, I wonder. You know, I have to wonder how I would do now. I'm kind of curious, and I'm really, really tempted to go do one of the trials or something, because I'm back. In case you didn't know, I'm back.
What you need to do, Tara, is you need to figure out your weight, because the first year was 60 and under, 60 and over. Then there were a couple of weight classes that got added, and you just need to get into the right weight class, and you could probably, you know, do a trials, you know, for the tournament again for sure.
Yeah, Tara, where are you at? What city?
I'm in Durham, North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm back with Team Rock. I'm back with my old team, my original team.
Yep.
So, Tara, we're honoring you, 2005 silver medalist of the Absolute Division for the women's. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to have you back on, you know, give it a few months for your run in 2007 as well. Thank you, Tara.
Oh, cool. Right on. Thank you so much for having me. It's super cool. So much fun.
Take care.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Check out the full interview on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms.